evening, it's Wednesday the 3rd of September and here's what's making news around the world on World News Tonight. Diplomatic summit. China hosts Russia and North Korea leaders for the first reunion in 66 years during Victory Day celebrations. Military alert. Israeli reservists mobilize ahead of planned Gaza City offensive amidst rising humanitarian concerns. Family innovation. Maine mom creates landline pod for kids, inspiring families to embrace screen-free communication.
From Colombo, this is World News Tonight with Amarcia Fernando.
Good evening once again. In a historic display of unity, Chinese President Xi Jinping hosts Russia's Vladimir Putin and North Korea's Kim Jong-un in Beijing's Tiananmen Square to mark the 80th anniversary of Japan's World War II surrender. The unprecedented trio showcased China's military might, unveiling hypersonic missiles and unmanned drones.
A military parade marking China's 80th Victory Day anniversary became the stage for the leaders of North Korea, China, and Russia to appear together for the first time in 66 years. The 70-minute-long celebration kicked off on Wednesday at 9 a.m. local time in Tiananmen Square, Beijing. About an hour before the official ceremony, around 25 world leaders began arriving at the venue, walking down a red carpet. Chinese President Xi Jinping greeted them, with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un entering just before Russian President Vladimir Putin, who was the last to arrive. Symbolic moments of solidarity among Pyongyang, Beijing, and Moscow continued throughout the event. With Xi in the center, Kim on his left, and Putin on his right, the three leaders walked up to the rostrum side by side, conversing with smiles. China marks September 3rd, 1945 as the day of its victory over Japan and the end of World War II. That's the day after Japan signed its unconditional surrender to China and the other allies.
History warns us that the destiny of humankind is closely interconnected. Only when nations and peoples treat each other as equals, live together in harmony, and support one another can we safeguard common security and eliminate the root causes of war. We must not allow the tragedies of history to repeat themselves.
During the military parade, China showcased strategic weapons for the first time, including the F-H-97 unmanned combat aircraft and the DF-61 intercontinental ballistic missile, reportedly an upgrade from the DF-41. A record 40,000 people took part in the parade, with 45 military units also marching through Tiananmen Square to display their strength. Meanwhile, from South Korea, National Assembly Speaker Woo Won-sik attended the parade.
President Donald Trump downplayed concerns over the growing alliance between China, Russia, and North Korea, asserting that he maintains a strong relationship with Chinese President Xi Jinping. Trump emphasized the U.S. unmatched military strength and dismissed rumors about his health as fake news following recent public absences.
U.S. President Donald Trump has dismissed any concerns over the close ties being showcased by North Korea, China, and Russia. Trump told reporters in the Oval Office that he had a good relationship with President Xi and that China, quote, needs us more than we need them, rejecting suggestions that the three-way unity between Putin, Xi, and Kim would pose any challenge. Separately, Trump told the Scott Jennings radio show that America has, quote, the most powerful military forces in the world and that military forces wouldn't be used against the U.S. Meanwhile, President Trump also dismissed rumors concerning his health after unfounded rumors swirled on social media when Trump hadn't been seen publicly since his cabinet meeting last Wednesday and had a clear weekend schedule. When asked by a reporter, Trump said he was busy over the Labor Day weekend giving media interviews and visiting his Virginia golf course, calling the speculation fake news, stating that he was very active.
Now, you knew I did an interview that lasted for about an hour and a half with somebody, and everybody saw that was on one of your competitors. I did numerous shows and also did a number of truths, long truths, I think pretty poignant truths. No, I was very active over the weekend.
The White House has said Trump was diagnosed with chronic venous insufficiency, which is a fairly common condition for older adults. And as for the bruising on his hand, the press secretary said it's from frequent handshaking and the use of aspirin, which Trump takes regularly to reduce the risk of heart attacks and strokes.
Very good call.
A magnitude 5.5 earthquake struck southeastern Afghanistan yesterday, exacerbating the devastation from a previous quake that killed over 1,400 people. The tremor destroyed additional homes and hindered rescue efforts in the mountainous Kunar and Nangarhar provinces, where survivors continue to reach for loved ones amidst widespread destruction.
A 5.5 magnitude earthquake hit southeastern Afghanistan on Tuesday, almost 2 days after another quake in the region killed hundreds of people. Sunday's quake, with a magnitude of 6, was one of Afghanistan's worst in years. It damaged houses in remote villages, and difficult terrain has badly hindered rescue workers' relief efforts. This survivor says his entire village was flattened, and that he lost his wife, son, and daughter to the quake. Homes that were partially damaged by it were destroyed by Tuesday's quake, according to residents. A Reuters journalist who was in the area before the latest tremors saw locals still digging through the rubble for survivors, as many remain trapped. This volunteer says people are in need of everything, especially medicine and shelter. But global help has been hard to come by. Afghanistan has been badly hit by U.S. President Donald Trump's decision to cut funding to foreign aid programs. The disaster has further stretched the war-torn nation's Taliban administration, already grappling with a sharp drop in foreign aid. Diplomats and aid officials say crises elsewhere in the world, along with frustration over Taliban's policies towards women, have been a factor in funding cuts.
A suicide bombing at a political rally in Quetta, Pakistan has claimed at least 11 lives and left 30 others injured. The attack occurred in a parking area as attendees were departing. The rally commemorated nationalist leader Sardar Atollah Mengal's death anniversary. No group has claimed responsibility.
Suicide bomber detonated an explosive device at a political rally yesterday in Quetta, the capital of Balochistan province. The blast occurred in a parking lot as attendees were leaving the event, resulting in at least 11 fatalities and approximately 30 injuries. The rally was organized by the Balochistan National Party Mengal to mark the anniversary of Sardar Atollah Mengal's death. His son, Sardar Akhtar Mengal, was present at the event but was reported safe. Balochistan has long been a region of unrest, with both Islamist militants and Baloch separatist insurgents operating within its borders. The province shares borders with Afghanistan and Iran, making it strategically significant and vulnerable to cross-border militancy. Authorities are investigating the incident, but no group has claimed responsibility as of now. This attack is part of a troubling pattern of violence targeting political gatherings in Pakistan. In recent years, the country has witnessed several such incidents, including a 2018 suicide bombing at an election rally in Mustang, Balochistan, which killed 149 people. The recurrence of such attacks underscores the persistent security challenges faced by Pakistan, particularly in its restrictive provinces.
Indian Foreign Minister Subramaniam Jaishankar has appealed to Germany for support in expediting free trade agreement negotiations with the European Union. During a meeting with German counterpart Johann Vadeful in New Delhi, Jaishankar emphasized the importance of Germany's backing to overcome existing trade hurdles.
Indian External Affairs Minister Subramaniam Jaishankar emphasized the strategic importance of India's partnership with the European Union during his meeting with German counterpart Johann Vadeful. Speaking in New Delhi, Jaishankar highlighted India's expectation that Germany would play a supportive role in strengthening EU-India relations and accelerating the ongoing free trade agreement negotiations. The talks come amid broader efforts by New Delhi to diversify trade partnerships and secure a stronger foothold in Europe. Vadeful, who was in Bengaluru on Tuesday as a part of his 2-day India visit, reiterated Germany's interest in enhancing bilateral trade and political cooperation. The discussions touched on areas of mutual concern, including technological collaboration, climate initiatives, and regional security. Both ministers signal a willingness to address bottlenecks in trade discussions while seeking opportunities to expand investment and industrial collaboration between the two countries. Negotiations over the India-EU FTA have been complicated by several sensitive issues. The EU is pushing for lower import duties on vehicles and dairy products, alongside stricter environmental and labor compliance standards. India, on the other hand, aims to protect its domestic agricultural sector, resist overly rigid climate rules, and maintain sovereignty over legal dispute mechanisms. Finding a balanced framework remains key to unlocking the potential of one of the world's largest trade deals, with Germany playing potentially pivotal role as an advocate within the EU.
Let's go in for a short commercial break. More world news coming right after this. And welcome back. Indonesian police deployed tear gas and rubber bullets near Bandung's Islam and Pasdan universities amidst escalating protests over government spending and workers' rights. The demonstrations, sparked by a fatal incident involving a police vehicle, have resulted in at least 10 deaths nationwide since last week.
Indonesian protesters took shelter in a university building in West Java as clashes erupted outside. Officers fired tear gas and rubber bullets into crowds, authorities said, the first time they've done so at demonstrators on or near university campuses. It's raised further tensions over unrest that has left 10 people dead since last week. The protests began in the capital, Jakarta, targeting government spending such as enhanced perks for lawmakers. They escalated into rioting and looting after a police vehicle hit and killed a motorcycle taxi driver. Demonstrators have since spread nationwide. This unrest near the Islamic University of Bandung and Pasundan University is almost 90 miles from the capital. A police official said officers did not enter the two universities' campuses, but instead tried to break up crowds of, quote, non-student protesters around the premises. The UNISBA student body accused security forces of seeking to silence dissent, saying they, quote, brutally attacked the campus. Islamic Student Union head Raviv Tuanku al-Said said one student was critically injured when hit by rubber bullets on his campus.
We remain steadfast in what we are fighting for today, at this very moment, namely our campus at Bandung Islamic University, which is indeed a space for our learning. If there is militarization, or if the military has come to our campus, there will no longer be a safe zone for us to engage in intellectual pursuits.
President Prabowo Subianto warned the police and military would stand firm against violent escalations. The United Nations Rights Office called for accusations of rights violations by security forces to be investigated.
Israel has initiated the mobilization of tens of thousands of reservists as part of a planned offensive to capture Gaza City, despite escalating international concerns. The United Nations has declared a famine in the region, with nearly 1 million residents affected. The conflict has resulted in over 62,000 Palestinian deaths since October 2023.
These pictures show the arrival of the first reservists reporting for duty at an army base in southern Israel. It's the first phase of a wider draft as the IDF readies the government's plan to conquer Gaza City. 60,000 reservists were expected to be drafted, the largest call-up since the start of the war in Gaza in October 2023. But the Gaza City offensive could run into difficulties as far fewer reservists are reporting for duty. Some of them, like these, accuse Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu of prolonging the war for political ends.
We are the same reservists and soldiers who dropped everything on October 7th and rushed to the fronts to report for duty to protect our people. It is precisely from that same sense of duty which we are driven to refuse and to use our voices loudly to resist Netanyahu's attempts to sacrifice everything for his own political survival.
Many of those refusing to serve are either exhausted, demoralized, or angry that the war has dragged on for so long. Businesses are also suffering, with employees on reserve duty absent for months. Reservists aren't the only ones voicing frustration at the conduct of the war. The IDF's military chief, Eyal Zamir, has repeatedly clashed with Netanyahu over his plans, which he says will endanger the lives of the hostages. Late on Sunday, during a meeting of the Security Cabinet, Zamir urged Netanyahu and his ministers to reach a ceasefire deal with Hamas. The military says an operation to capture Gaza City could take 5 months or longer, whilst also exhausting the army by getting it stuck in guerrilla warfare with Hamas.
The U.S. military has conducted a strike on a Venezuelan vessel allegedly carrying narcotics, resulting in deaths of 11 individuals. President Donald Trump confirmed the operation, linking the crew to the Venezuelan gang Tren de Agua. The action marks a significant escalation in the U.S.-Venezuela tensions.
A U.S. military strike on an alleged drug boat from Venezuela killed 11 people. That's according to President Donald Trump, who shared video on Truth Social of what appeared to be a drone view of a speedboat exploding and then on fire. This marks the first known operation since the Trump administration's recent deployment of warships to the southern Caribbean. Trump said the U.S. military had identified the crew as members of Venezuelan gang Tren de Agua, and the strike happened in international waters as the boat, which he said was carrying a lot of drugs, was heading to the United States. Washington designated Tren de Agua as a terrorist organization in February. Secretary of State Marco Rubio responded to the U.S. strike.
The president was very clear, and that is we destroyed a drug boat that left Venezuela, operated by a designated narco-terrorist organization, which is what these are, and he's been clear that the days of acting with impunity and having an engine shot down or a couple drugs grabbed off a boat, those days are over. Now we are going to wage combat against drug cartels that are flooding American streets and killing Americans.
On Truth Social, Trump also repeated allegations that Tren de Agua is being controlled by Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro, accusations that Caracas denies. It all comes amid a massive buildup of U.S. warships in the Caribbean, which exceeds the usual deployments in the region. And last month, the United States doubled its reward for information leading to the arrest of Maduro to $50 million, accusing him of links to drug trafficking and criminal groups. The moves have raised alarm in Venezuela that their government might be the real target of the U.S. Navy buildup. Maduro held a rare press conference Tuesday, addressing the show of force on his country's doorstep.
Es una amenaza extravagante, injustificable.
It is an extravagant, unjustifiable, immoral and absolutely criminal threat. Bloody, absolutely criminal.
Absolutamente criminal. Ellos han querido...
They have wanted to move toward what they call maximum pressure, in this case military. And in the face of maximum military pressure, we have declared maximum preparedness for the defense of Venezuela.
The Republican-led U.S. House Oversight Committee has released over 33,000 pages of documents related to Jeffrey Epstein, including court filings, police interviews, and audio recordings from past investigations. The move aims to address public demand of transparency, though critics argue much of the information was previously available.
A Republican-led U.S. House of Representatives committee said it released more than 33,000 pages of files on the disgraced financier and convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. That came as party leadership looked to end a push by a bipartisan pair of lawmakers to force a vote on the matter. The case of Epstein, who died by suicide in prison in 2019, has caused a political headache for Republican President Donald Trump, after many of his supporters embraced a slew of related conspiracy theories. A July Reuters Ipsos poll found that majorities of Americans and of Trump's Republicans believe the government is hiding details on the case. The files released on Tuesday largely consisted of court documents and other previously released information.
So you can't mention my name to her.
They included at least 8 videos of apparent police interviews with victims, several of which are time-stamped from 2005 and 2006. Republican Representative Thomas Massey and Representative Ro Khanna, a California Democrat, have proposed a measure that would require the Justice Department to release all of its unclassified Epstein records. The pair will hold a press conference with Epstein victims. Massey told the Axios news outlet that he would push ahead despite the latest document release.
Time for a short break now. We'll be right back with more world news. And welcome back. In South Portland, Maine, a growing number of families are embracing a nostalgic yet intentional approach to communication. Instead of smartphones, parents are initiating landline phones for their children, fostering direct conversations and reducing screen time. This initiative, known as the Landline Pod, is gaining momentum.
In South Portland, Maine, 10-year-old Molly Morse is dialing into something completely bizarre for most kids her age.
Hello.
An old-fashioned landline with a curly cord. Before she got one, this was just a mystery. But Molly found out it's not a toy on her 10th birthday after asking her mom for a cell phone. That meant putting one landline in the dining room to keep all conversations in the open.
Hello?
Soon, Molly got the hang of it. So did her 8-year-old sister, Piper. The only drawback at first, their friends didn't have a landline.
Anyone else?
But Mom got busy spreading the word. Today, they have a landline pod of about 24 people, including Molly's best friend, Scout.
Hello. Hi, Scout.
Now, Scout's dad says something wonderful is happening. Cell phones will come, but not right now.
Hi.
A 20-year-old Army football player and his father rescued a man from a burning car in Fort Montgomery, New York. Sophomore safety Larry Pickett Jr., a West Point cadet, and his father pulled the driver from the wrecking just before the vehicle exploded.
Heart-pounding drama as a 20-year-old West Point cadet and his father drag an injured motorist from his wrecked car. You can see a downed power line beneath the vehicle. It could ignite at any moment. They carry the injured driver across the road to safety just in time. Behind them, the car is engulfed in flames.
You're a hero, sir.
It was the climax of a weekend of heroics by the 20-year-old Army cadet. Larry Pickett Jr. had quite a Labor Day weekend. On Saturday, he played in the season opener for the West Point football team. To celebrate, his mom and dad took him to New York City, where they enjoyed pizza and took in the sights of Times Square. Driving the young cadet back to West Point, they came across this.
I'm just grateful that we got him out, honestly, because that could have gone totally different for him.
There was not much thinking or any talking, but just knowing that we had to go and help someone and just reacted off of that.
Larry Pickett Jr. and his father stayed with the injured driver until he was taken to the hospital. Larry Sr. couldn't be prouder of his son.
We couldn't let that guy burn, and we knew that was going to happen. The car was already starting to catch fire. We hear the sparks, we hear the pops, the flashes of light, and we were his only hope at that moment. It was no hesitation. He jumped right into action.
And with that, we come to the end of today's edition of World News Tonight. With the hopes of seeing you again, I'm Amasha Fernando, and we leave you tonight with the visuals of Zimbabwe fashion embracing tribal heritage designs. Also, don't forget to send us your feedback through email at feedback.ad24english@derana.lk or via WhatsApp at 076-805-7933. Anuradha Vikramasinghe will be joining you next with the Nightly Business Report. Thank you for watching and have a great night.